Hi, and welcome to this banjo lesson for the Grateful Dead's Shakedown Street. Not your typical banjo song, but that's okay because it's all music and banjo is just another instrument. Sometimes doing something that's not typical can be a really great way to get a perspective on a song or an instrument that you might not otherwise have. And I hope that this video and others are going to help musicians and banjo players learn and grow on whatever their instrument is or whatever music they're interested in. So that said, thank you to everybody who's coming back, who enjoyed my lesson for Deal, the Jerry Garcia band song for banjo. Also a similar kind of thing. We're going to take a similar approach today. I'm going to play through the song, and like we said, this isn't a typical banjo song, and show you a little bit of what my ideas are here, and then I'm going to walk you through it. And we're really going to focus on the left hand and see what's going on the fretboard, which is a cool thing to do. And let's get going, and I'll let the song speak for itself. And I really hope to hear from you in the comments, and let me know what questions you have and what parts of this were really helpful for you. I appreciate the feedback, and I appreciated the feedback on the Deal video too. So thank you for watching and subscribing and sharing this video. And I also want to mention before we get started that I do offer private lessons over the internet, and they really are just a great way to learn. Maybe you're a true beginner and you're hoping to progress to the point where you can really follow along thoroughly with a video like this. I hope it helps you either way, because there's just going to be a lot of good information here. If you're hoping to progress your skills to being able to follow something like this, send me a message, send me an email, visit my website. And maybe you're a more advanced player, this is really easy for you, and you want to take it a step further or explore some of the things that I don't get into as much detail about, maybe talk about music theory or just whatever other concepts you want to progress, keep moving, same thing. I'll do my best to make that easy for you, and just let me know. So let's get started. First, I'm going to play through it's one sequence of the song. This song has 3 parts. This is all a little bit subjective, so breaking down a song can be up to the person playing it or analyzing it or whatever. I think of it in 3 pieces, and we're going to get into that. And I just want to say that there's no perfect way to play this song, and maybe not any song. And I'm going to go through my way of approaching it. You may see it a little differently, and that's okay. That's not the point here. So here we go. So that's an approximation. Played a lot of different stuff there. I play I play it a little bit differently every time. That's part of what I love about music, improvisation, and especially the Grateful Dead is you have the freedom to do that. Maybe I made a mistake or two, but that's not the end of the world. And one of the great things about a lesson like this is that this is about concepts and ideas and not playing the song perfectly. Playing a song perfectly is important, and it's a great, super important thing to learn to do. I'm not saying that you don't want to learn to play things perfectly or get songs right. In fact, I am saying that. But this video lesson is about something different. It's about ideas and how to approach a song and how to approach the banjo so that you can play a song like Shakedown Street and convey the song, but not have to change it so drastically to meet your instrument or another style. That's a cool thing to do too, but this is not about that. So let's start with the beginning. This song's in 3 sections. I basically break it down into the first section. I call that the D minor section. That's the well, you can never tell section, the beginning of the song. And it's based around D minor. So I'm starting that right here, D minor. The D, the root of the chord, is on the 7th fret G string. And I'm walking down to the next lower kind of basic D minor chord on the neck. And that's right here. Now the root is on the B string, 3rd fret B string, 2nd finger in my case. And I'm tracking the melody in the highest string, the D string. Most of the time, the melody note is going to be most audible if it's the highest note that's being heard on your instrument. So there you go. How do we get chords to that? Well, there's a lot of ways. The way that I came up with is I take the D minor here, and I know I'm going to come down to this note. I have a D minor there, and I want to fill in the space. So I filled that in with an E minor chord. I think it sounds nice, and it's right here. The nice part about that is I don't have to change my shapes too drastically. So here's D minor, E minor, D minor. And the melody note. So you can watch that as we move through the chords and listen for it as you're playing it. Right? And if you want to use a reverse roll, that might be cool in that situation because you're going to accent that high string and maybe bring out the melody. So, maybe even want to do something like... That's just another approach. Hey, there's an idea for you. So I'm trying to follow the melody. So I'm going to use block chords. I might throw in some roll stuff. And now we come to the lick. This lick is definitely a definitive factor of the song. So when I'm going through a song, I'm looking for musical moments or ideas that sort of identify the song. There's many songs that have D minor in them or are based around the D minor chord. That doesn't really distinguish Shakedown Street from other songs. But this lick, highly memorable and pretty integral to what makes this song different from other songs, at least the way I hear it. So I want that lick in my playing because I want you to know I'm playing Shakedown Street. And I'll show you that lick. I'll show it to you slowly. Use this YouTube slow downer. I highly recommend it. I use it to learn stuff all the time. But here we go. Okay, one more time. Now Now the cool thing about this lick for the banjo is that we're going to a G chord. And if you're playing non-bluegrass songs on banjo, or bluegrass songs too, and you have a G chord coming up, you want to set yourself up to play your bluegrass stuff if it's appropriate and if you want to. This is a great example of one of those situations. It ends on a G note and a G chord at the same time, so I hit that open G string at the end, and that's my cue to get running. Usually right after that, I'm going to do a pinch on the high G and high D strings. And here, let me just show it you. The whole kind of thing here is pick your favorite Scruggs licks and insert them there. And the chords there, we end that lick on a G, and then we're going to go to a C, and then an F, C. And again, you could do some cool stuff here with your Scruggs licks, with suspended chords. Sometimes on this G, I'll leave the G string open, which is very fun for this because you can have that G string open the whole time, you know. See, I flipped the C and the F chords there. That's okay. It's just a little mistake. Let's try to get it right. And there you go. So I got G, C, and D. Those are the notes there. C, part of the F chord, part of the C chord, not part of a G chord, but especially with Grateful Dead music, these suspended chords, if you take a G chord and you substitute the B note for a C, it becomes a G suspended 4. Not to get too heavy into music theory, but suspended chords work on a lot of Grateful Dead stuff, and sometimes they're really part of the composition. So experiment with that. Here's some shapes you can use. There's a lot of stuff for you there for if you're working with C, F, and G. After we get through those chords, we're gonna go back to the top of the D minor section for a repeat, and I'm just gonna walk through that slowly for you now and not get fancy, try to add in extra licks or anything. So here's our repeat. So now we're moving into the next section of the song, which I call the F section. Based on the first chord of the section, it's not terribly sophisticated nomenclature. So I take that up the neck. Here's your F chord. It's just a bar on 10th fret. Nothing too crazy about that. But in this song, it hits me as more of an F major 7 chord, which is an F major chord, and you add the note E natural. So F-A-C-E, face. That's your F major 7 chord. And here's a great move for you on banjo. That note for any major chord in the bar shape is going to be on the 2 D strings, 1, 2, 3, 4 frets above your bar. And you can usually grab that with your pinky. So there's your E, and there's an E. And you can do some pretty fun stuff there. what's fun about that with banjo is that you don't need to be on that note the whole time. I suppose that'd be true on any instrument, but if you're doing banjo rolls, you can make a whole chord happen, and you don't need to actually be holding down every note all at once. So, I might do something like, kind of similar to what's going on in the D minor section, tracking the melody on the high string. And then we're going to do a similar thing on the next chord. That's E minor. And a quick note for you here. E minor, D minor, D minor, D minor. Ties it into the beginning of the song. And E minor, you add the note D to make that an E minor 7. And D, right there. So F, F major 7, E minor 7. Also part of the melody. And then we're going to go back to F, back to E minor, then to a D minor, and to a G, ultimately. A regular G major, or sometimes a G dominant 7. I tend to mix them up. We'll get there. So here's your E minor. Back to F. And then E minor. Now, to get to D minor, also something that comes up in this song, at least to my ear, maybe I picked it up from some live recording and stuck with it, but I hear it, is there's a passing chord, and that's where we get a little quick E minor and then a E flat minor to a D minor. So in time, D minor 7, and there's your G chord. And again, at any G chord moment, you don't always want to just break into your bluegrass stuff on banjo, but it's at least an opportunity to. So here, and then so we get through the D minor, and then we're on this G, and we can add the 7th. This would be the flat 7th because it's a dominant 7 chord. You don't need to follow all of the music theory because I'm going to show you where the notes are. And in a G, in this position, we have F right there. Now that's a G7, short for dominant 7. We also have an F here. If I borrow my first finger, hold down 3rd fret, high D string, that's now an F. And always remember, anything you do on one D string, you can do on the other. So I can also play the... I have my flat 7, that F natural, right there on a 3rd fret low D string as well. All ways to approach a G7. So I'll walk you through the chords again, showing you the triad, major minor version, and then also where you can add a note to turn it into a major 7, minor 7, or dominant 7. So here we go. We got F, major, here's your 7, E minor, E minor 7, F major, major 7, E minor, E minor 7, passing chord, D minor, D minor 7, and then here's G, G7. Little out of tune on that one. And then we move from that G7, that transitions us into the 3rd section of the song, which is a vamp on a C7 chord. And this is really your opportunity to let loose if you're not the one singing, or if you are singing and you have the independence and proficiency to let loose on your instrument while singing. I admire you. And we can do all sorts of things with C7. This is kind of the open book. This is where they might jam. You might want to jam. So It's just a C7 chord. Slow it down if you want. And so here's some ways to play C7. Remember, anything you do on one D string, you can do on the other. So let's start with our regular open C. You may know this chord already. And if we just add the pinky to 3rd fret G string, now it's a C7. Let's move up. We have a C here, bar on 5th fret, and we can add the note B flat to 8th fret D string, 8th fret low D string. There's a C7. There's a C7. Let's move up again. Here's a C major, and we have a couple options on this one. Well, a couple different approaches. We can add the B flat right here on 11th fret B string. Turn it into this kind of chord maybe. So you see that's actually the same exact frets, and I just moved my fingering around, so now my 3rd finger is on the note C on 10th fret high D string and low D string. Or you can just stick with the 3-note chord. Still C7. And then we can also lower this. Here's back to your regular C major. You can lower this root note here down 2 frets. So now I'm on 8th fret with my 1st finger bar. And it's a C dominant 7 now. And then I can do that on the low D string too. Don't forget to take your 3rd finger off. So now I'm barring with my 1st finger still, and but I'm down to 8th fret low D string. And you can add the root back on top on 10th fret D string, or you can maybe leave the high D string out. C7. And then in the next shape, we're back. It's the same as playing here. We just need to cover the 12th fret because it's 12th fret's the same note as an open string. But at 12th fret, of course, you need to actually hold down the string. That's why it's not an open note. But it is the same note, an octave higher. So there you go. And you can just carry everything up. Add 12 to everything. 3 becomes 15. And there's your C7 chord. Here's a couple other ways to play C7 that weren't included in that. So there's 11th fret B string, same note from here, and we're going to play 14th fret low D, 12th fret G. This is a cool voicing because it actually doesn't have a root note. There's no C, but in the context of a song, it's still going to sound like C7 when you play it. In a vacuum, it's an E diminished chord, but in the context of this song and this part of this song, it's going to sound like C7. So, and another rootless voicing is right here. 5th fret low D, 3rd fret G, and 5th fret B. Those notes are also E, G, and B flat, just in a different order. G, B flat, and E. Also an E diminished chord in a vacuum. In the context of this song, it's going to sound like C7. So totally cool to use it. So I'm going to play through some of that, try to hit some of those voicings, and then I'm going to toss in something that I did play before that's some more complex harmony involved for you, and hopefully a pathway to other such ideas. So here's a little playthrough of the C7 section, which would be the vamp, and I'm just jamming on it, for real. So feel free to copy stuff, come up with your own stuff. I hope it inspires you. I'll start on that G7 chord for a little context. take it again. So that bit at the end, that is, we're going to start on a C7 flat 13. And that's just, so the idea here is we're taking the two essential notes of a C7 chord. Those are B flat and E natural. Kind of like that lick from earlier in the song that, you know, on its own, maybe there's nothing super special about it, but it helps identify the song. That lets our listeners and us know that we're playing Shakedown Street. Without that lick, you know, maybe there's something missing. So B flat and E are to the C7 chord as that lick is to Shakedown Street. They're really the essential notes. The chord has 4 notes, C, E, G, and B flat, but those two, they mean the most. So we're going to take those two. B flat is on 8th fret low D string, E is on 9th fret G string, and we're going to add this note, 9th fret B string, that's A flat. And I don't want to get too crazy with the music theory, but that's called the flat 13. And this, again, in context, even though it's not your basic or fundamental C7 chord, it will function as a C7 chord. And what I'm going to do to create some voice leading is I'm going to take this chord and I'm going to move it up a half step, 1 fret, and then I'm going to move into the C7 that we learned earlier. So my top note is going, and my middle note's going to go, and my low note's going to go, kind of neat. Together, and that can be a fun comping tool. The chord in the middle is a, well, we started on C7 flat 13, so if we move that up a half step, that would be C sharp 7 flat 13. And again, I don't want to go too crazy with the music theory, but Google tritone substitutions, or maybe you know about that. And there's kind of 2 approaches there. Is that a tritone substitution? Yes. Is it also, in this context, just a passing chord between C7 and another voicing for C7? Also yes. Was that what I was thinking when I came up with that? Absolutely not. I just wanted to connect 2 chords. I have C7 here, C7 flat 13, and C7 here. And I thought, well, how can I get from one to the other? There we go. And there's all sorts of fun things you can do with that. If you take your C7 flat 13 chord and you move the 13 up to the next fret, now it's a C7 13 chord. And that note's A natural. And we can keep that note up there and move through those same chords to create another interesting effect, voice leading. So, kind of neat. This chord is a C6 in context. It shares the same notes with A minor 7. So there's another neat idea for you. Maybe if you're in a C7 section, you can try out soloing on an A minor scale. That might be interesting. But this is just a fun little area here. I love to explore ways to, rather than thinking about each and every chord I'm playing, just move 2, 3, or 4 strings around, or the notes on 2, 3, or 4 strings on the banjo, a 5 if I'm also working the high G string, which we haven't really touched except for this guy. So So sometimes it's useful, fun, interesting to just move your notes around the strings and not really consider what chord you're playing. You can go back and analyze that after the fact, or you can just play things that you thought sounded cool and don't play things that you didn't think sounded cool. That works too. So yeah, so here we go. This is going to be a neat thing to play in Shakedown Street. And one more passing chord. So to get back to the beginning of the song, the D minor section, a lot of times we're gonna hit a C sharp major or a C sharp 7 to transition us C or C7 to C sharp to D minor. And that's about it. There's all sorts of opportunities to play really, really neat, fun, interesting stuff on this song, on any instrument, and especially on banjo. It was a surprise for me when I first started playing this song that there was really a lot for me to do on a song like this. Maybe not the first thing you think when you hear Shakedown Street is, boy, I could really play a lot of cool stuff on banjo on a song like that. It wasn't for me, but there is a lot of neat stuff. So let's do a quick rundown again, and that'll be it for today. I hope that you really enjoyed this lesson and you learn a lot from it, and you have questions and you ask those questions, and you subscribe to my channel and share this, and you just get a lot out of it. I'm trying to offer a perspective that took me years to gain. So, put a lot of time into this arrangement and a lot of time into learning Grateful Dead music and learning the banjo and learning to be a musician. And I hope you all are doing the same or starting to do the same, and that this helps you along the way. So here we go. Just a breakdown of the sections. We have our first section, the D minor section. D minor, E minor, D minor, D minor, E minor, lick, essential lick, C, F, C, back. Section 2, the F major section, F major 7, E minor 7, back to E minor, your passing chord to D minor, G7, and then section 3, the C7 section, all C7. And when you're ready, so there's your helpful breakdown, I hope, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And slow it down, ask questions, and enjoy music and banjo. I'll see you next time. Thanks.